What's up guys, Brandon aka Drip, back with another video. In today's video, got another good deck profile, one that should have been updated a long time ago, but I didn't. I have been slacking, I've been doing a lot of meta stuff, been getting sidetracked and stuff, but I'm revisiting another one of my favorite decks, nostalgia decks, fan favorite deck. Everybody loves, or at least has respect for Cyber Dragons and how good they are, and how some indirectly some point in certain areas were kind of ahead of their time. But this is my take on it. I really like this build. I've been tearing it up online with it. It's kind of gross how good Cyber Dragons actually are. It's one of those things where like a couple of decks that I play, I lose sight of how good the deck actually is because I just go off and play other decks. That when I come back and then it takes me a little bit and I finally get back in the groove and used to playing the deck, I realize how strong the deck actually is, and Cyber Dragon is just nuts. But I finally just stuck to my guns and I put me a profile together that I felt was really solid for this format, even though currently this format is pretty young, but it was really from previous format, but I just switched a couple of things and moved a couple of hand traps around in order to make it to this format, even though we're only 2 weeks in as the time of recording this video. But with that being said, we can go ahead and get into this video, and I'll explain more in depth as we go along on my reasonings on things. A lot of it is pretty much standard, to be honest. Starting it out with OG, old reliable, just like a Blue Eyes deck, just like a Galaxy Eyes Photon deck, just like a lot of other decks. Three of your main boss monster. This card is just nuts. It's the main heart and soul of the deck. Everybody knows that. And we got 3 core. 3 core is 3 core. And then me, I like 3 hers. I like the 3rd hers because I would like to try to see it. I know a lot of people cut it to 2. I just like it because the 3rd one's good for the grind game, and I like to see the card, so it works out in that regard. And then the other controversial one outside of hers is Nasher. I like 2 Nasher. For the most part, in a lot of builds, 2 Nasher is kind of standard for that most part, which is understandable. This card is only really good in the late game, or only time it's even like really necessary in the early game is if you get hand trapped to death. But even then you have to make sure you didn't really activate none of the effects to be able to really fully plus off of it. So outside of that, hers is not hers, but Nasher is a 2 of. I see it when I need it, and it's amazing. Then I'm only running 2 soldier. I know a lot of people run 3. It's just this card is so easily accessible in this deck. I don't feel like 3 is necessary because you're really only going to resolve this card once. Because outside of that, in this deck, unlike our Galaxy Eyes deck that we play, this card is only going to search itself, and it's going to do one thing, and it's going to make you an infinity, or attempt to. So outside of that, it doesn't have the versatility in this deck that it does in our Galaxy Eyes deck. So only 2 of, because you're just going to use one to search the other. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, what if you draw the second one? Then you just have bad luck, my guy. But you could still go combo with the drawing the second one. So, and you can still get both on board if necessary. And then the last honorary Cyber Dragon and Yugioh, because you can search it and it's a searchable kaiju, so why not, right? But that's literally it pretty much for the Cyber Dragon engine. Like I said before, it's pretty much standard. There's not much I would actually change, honestly. One thing I will say is in my early build, which I keep going back and forth on it, I'm currently going back and forth on running Veer, because it's like I'm running it and I'm not running it, because there's certain situations where like when I have it and I need it, it's amazing. But if I don't need it, it could be another utility card that I may need, which I'll talk more about that when I get there. But for the most part, as of right now, I'm only running this. This is my Cyber Dragon lineup. And I like it, honestly. So there's not anything I would actually change in it, honestly. So that's it for the Cyber Dragon lineup. Let's get on to the rest of the monsters slash hand traps. And literally I can't even speak, the degeneracy with these two cards. Yes, we are running the Dragoon package. It's so easy to turbo out with this deck if we go first, so it makes it's disgusting going second too, because this deck can go second, break boards, OTK, and it can go first and do pretty much the exact same thing besides OTK. It's very consistent. So yes, we do run the Dragoon package. Now on to the hand trap lineup, where the hand trap lineup is honestly is all up to you. But to me, I feel like this is the most versatile lineup right now in the early stages of the format, whether you want to call it that, even though we're only 3 weeks in. They got 3 Ash. I do main deck 2 Crow. The reason being is because Crow comes in so clutch against a lot of matchups, definitely in the meta lineups right now, because you can Crow against dinos, you can Crow their Misk. Granted, their stuff will be unaffected, but they can't banish to extend. Against Invocation, you could just DD Crow their Invocation when they're trying to recycle back, or you can DD Crow Alistair and if they link them away before they even get to Fusion Summon with them. And you can Crow anything. Probably the weakest matchup with this card, and it's not even that weak. It just depends on how you look at it, honestly, would be Dragon Link, because you could easily Crow something pretty valuable out of their graveyard, like their Safert, so they don't have no recovery, because they really rely on that card to get Levianeer, to use Levianeer to pretty much resurrect anything or pop something, so it helps them with their recursion. So Crow, and it's even good against Eldritch and stuff like that too. So I decided to main deck it. If you don't like the main deck it, that's perfectly fine. You can do whatever you'd like. And then the one that I recently added back in, because last format I was running Ogre, but I decided to change Ogre to Skullmeister, because Skullmeister, if you have both, you can activate them both in the same turn, and everything is still, for the most part, pretty much still flowing through the graveyard. Whether it be Dragon Link, whether it be Invocation, whether it be Dinos, whether it be Eldritch, or those are the big guys that are just running through the graveyard, and you still have the rogue decks that run through the graveyard too. So pretty much whenever I run Skullmeister, it never fails me. But that's it for the hand trap lineup. I like it. Nothing I would really change. I feel like if I ran any more, it would be kind of bricky. So at the moment, I like my lineup. Moving on to the spells. Kind of obvious. 3-star emergency. I'm so happy this card didn't get hit because of stupid Drytron. It would have been really annoying. Which I knew this card wasn't going to get hit anyways, because the cyber support coming out like later in the year, and then even if they hit this and didn't hit nothing else on Drytron would still found a way to survive, and then that hit would have hurt Cyber Dragons more, and Cyber Dragons do not deserve that. Moving on next, another standard is 3 Machine Dupe. Machine Dupe is just stupid. It's busted. Nothing left to be said. I don't need to say anything else. Everybody knows what it does. Moving on to the 2 ofs. We got 2 talents, because talents is just so I believe it's so necessary, because it gives you a +2 when it comes to draw if you need it, or if you still have combo or a way to make an average board, you can rip a card out of your opponent's hand and make it to where you punish them for hand trapping you, or you can steal their monster. So even this is the best way to out Dragoon or something, in my personal opinion, because I can take their Dragoon and link away with it and make my own Dragoon, or I can OTK them with their own Dragoon, which happens a lot. So it's really good. And then on to the 1-ofs. You got 1 Repair Plant. Repair Plant's a Repair Plant. A lot of people run 2. I do not disagree with that. I think you could run 2. It's just currently in my build, I like running 1. I used to run 2 back in the day, but I only end up using it once. So, but I would not I would not put you down for running 2 because it's a good card. Because normally it's back and forth between two repair plants or 2 rev systems, which I'm only running 1 and 1 because I needed to make room for other cards, like the Dragoon package and stuff like that. But 1 rev system, I only find myself needing to use both of these twice. Since I'm running the Dragoon package, the games don't even really last that long. Because in the grind game, I can completely understand 2 rev system or maybe 2 repair plant will be necessary, because I 100% agree, because they're really, really good for the grind game, and that's what matters. But if you run the Dragoon build package like myself, then I felt like you don't need it because the game's going to be over anyways if you manage to get Dragoon on the field. And then the card that, thank God, got reprinted is Cyberload Fusion. The card was ridiculously priced. I'm so happy it got reprinted. Just a one-of, it's searchable, and you're only probably going to use it once anyways. So, yeah, 1. And then I know a lot of people bumped this to 2, but I'm only running 1 Overload Fusion because I don't really want to see it. I either want to see it late game, or if I end up hard drawing the Red Eyes Fusion, then I want to use Anaconda to use this. So 1 is perfectly fine. 1 Monster Reborn for utility and extending and just play through hand traps. 1 Foolish Barrel because this card is actually really good in this deck, because you can send whatever you need to fill up your graveyard for your trap, or you can refill your hand with this by sending hers. So it's really good in that regard. So it's a really solid utility card. And then the card I honestly thought about playing 2 of, not just the fact that it's actually not that bad to hard draw, because and that would be Red Eyes Fusion. The reason being is I thought about playing 2 because if you think about it, if you go into Anaconda and you send this, and then they ash you or whatever they do, your Dragoon package is dead. Then you have 2 bricks in your deck. I might end up bumping this up to 2, but it's just currently I only own 1. So in theory, running 2 is really good, because if the first one gets hit, then your package is still live. You just can try to find a way to protect your Anaconda, or maybe hard draw into it, and then because if you hard draw this, and like I said before, it just makes your Overload Fusion like more accessible in that regard. So 2 is not that bad. And then the last 2 cards in the deck are Cybernetic Overflow. This card is just stupid. It's so busted. It fuels your Cyberload Fusion. It pops whatever is problematic. And then if it's popped, you get a plus off of it too. Because you get to add a Cyber Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand. It's really busted. The second copy of Cybernetic Overflow was the Veer, but I decided to cut it for a second Overflow because I would like to see Overflow more than I normally do. I never see this card enough, I feel like, because hard drawing is not that much of an issue, honestly, as long as you don't open too many hand traps. So 2 Overflow, I feel like is a necessity at this point, personally. But I wouldn't judge you for running 1 and you running the Veer, because like I said, I'm back and forth on that too myself. On to the extra deck. For the most part, a lot of it's standard. One thing I will say is I do apologize that the cards are in separate sleeves, because I have yet to switch the sleeves over, and on top of that, a lot of them are in other decks. So just want to go ahead and get that out of the way. On to the Link 1s. Very standard. Amirage. Amirage is Amirage. And then we got Anima, because if our opponent doesn't look out for zones, then we can punish them with hers. Another reason why I like to run 3. So Anima is Anima. On to the Link 2s, we got Anaconda, Seeger, and then XZs, we got Nova, and then Double Infinity. I only run 1 Nova and Double Infinity because If necessary, then you can just bring this back and make the put the second infinity over top of it. So I only find myself really only needing one Nova. So I only run one Nova. Don't hate me, I'm sorry. On to the rest of the XYZs. The last XYZ we got is Zeus. We run Zeus because if we tack with our Infinity, then we can just overlay Zeus on top of it and completely just board wipe. At that point, when you know you can push for game. On to the fusions. One Mega Fleet. That's all you really need right now because it's not Link era anymore. So, but it's really good because definitely as Dragon Link, you can steal their Appaloosa or their Hieratic Seal or whatever they're going into. It's really nice. Or whatever you're going to steal from whatever deck. I was just using Dragon Link as an example. One Fortress. This card is actually really clutch a lot because whether it be with your Kaiju, but another situation this card is just nuts is several times I've played against Zodiac players and I don't know if they just forgot what Cyber Dragons do or that you confuse with their materials, but with their monsters. But like several times that if they just forget, you just punish them with this card because they'll always end on Zeus anyways. And if you just special summon Cyber Dragon or normal summon a Cyber Dragon and they let the effects go through without sending stuff away, or let's just say you special summon Cyber Dragon, then you could just yeet their Zeus and yours into this, and it's pretty busted because it's like they forget about that, and I don't know why. And then we run Twin because it's still Twin. It helps us push for game. One Rampage, only one Rampage. I know a lot of people run two. I feel like if you want to run more than one, you need to run more. Whatchamacallits? What is it? The Overload Fusion. Run as many Rampages as you do Overload Fusions, in my personal opinion. Moving on. Dragoon, obviously. Makaba, if they Nibiru us on our the Nova, or if we're playing against Dogmatica, we could just send our Nova if they're using Maximus, and then we can make this. And then the last fusion in the deck is Intus for utility. If we're playing against Dogmatica. One thing I will say is Intus and our Zeus, is like flex spots. Not what I mean by that is if you don't have access to either one of those, or if you don't want to run either one of those, then you can put in wherever you want. So if you're running a second Overload Fusion, by all means, put a second Rampage in there. If you are wanting a second Fortress, a second Mega Fleet, a second Nova for that matter, and if you feel like a second Nova would be like a 2-2 when it comes to that in Infinity, by all means, go ahead. That's perfectly fine. I'm just giving you what I think works for me and what is the most well-rounded, my personal opinion, in this early stages of our format. Because if you're taking this to a bigger event or your locals, it has a lot of variety in it, whether it be meta decks, rogue decks, or anything, I feel like this will be the best build for you if they like play these cards that you can counter them with. So that's just my personal opinion. If you don't want to take it, that's fine. If you have any questions when it comes to anything, like, it's not going to offend me. Be like, hey, if I don't have access to that card, or I don't want to run that card because I don't know why, or if you want more insight of why I run that card, just let me know and just ask me in the comment section or ask me in the Discord, and I'll give you more insight on it, or I'll help you shape your deck to where you want it to be. But that is it for the main deck and extra deck. The main deck is a 40 extra deck, a 40 main, and it was really hard to keep it at 40. But you want to maximize on consistency, so that's why I did it. But with that being said, guys, please drop a like, comment if you like. subscribe, please. A lot of you, it's 93.6 of you who watch my videos are not subscribed. Please hit the subscribe button. We keep growing as a family rapidly. We're just growing and growing and growing, and I'm loving every second of it. I love waking up seeing your guys' comments and stuff like that on videos and stuff. I love talking to you guys. So feel free to join the Discord. Everything, PayPal, Discord, and everything's in the description below. But I want to wish you guys a happy day. Hey, have a good day, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this. Stay safe out there and drip out. Peace.